But the best viral long-term, so if you're looking at this as a long-term business venture, don't go for one-dimensional apps, go for engaging apps that have a viral component that make the users compelled to share with their friends. Because the reality is, I'll invite 10 friends, and I'm never gonna think about inviting friends again. I've got too many other things going on in my life. But if my behavior can actually share information without me doing anything as a user of that application, if it can share things and raise awareness in my news feed or in my mini feed or in my friend's news feed, that's another huge viral carrier. And so you're going to see applications kind of work towards that way for kind of some of the carrier components of virality.
So it's thinking about the user behavior in Facebook, the typical user and what their behaviors are, and finding ways that your application can interact with those behaviors. And whether they're social behaviors or whether they're work related or whatever they are, if an app can be created that integrates and creates a better experience for that user and their behaviors that they already do, that would seem to be a good formula for a successful application.
Absolutely, that's where we're going. That's what the marketplace is maturing, and as more and more users come onto Facebook, their expectation of what an app does changes. It's already changed. People aren't really engaging with these one-dimensional applications as much as they did right away. So there's a bit of an application overload. So you just have to focus more on engagement and user value. These one-dimensional apps don't do it. Yeah, it's bling for your profile page, but short of that, you load it, you forget it, you never go back again. And people are installing a lot of it now. They're doing a little housekeeping and cleaning up their profiles.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about business models. I mean, the business models that I see that people are using is they're using Facebook applications as a means to promote their brand. So that would be considered a business model. People are using Facebook applications as a means to just make money by virtue of placing ads, contextual ads, or some sort of advertising on their application. Another business model is the make and sell model. So you're starting to see people, these made-for-sale Facebook applications. So those are all examples of business models. What are some of the business models that you've seen that are most successful in terms of generating revenue for a company, and where do you see that going in the future?
Yeah, well, what we're seeing is exactly those revenue models that you talked about. Some sort of kind of page view, Web 1.0 monetization of serving ads around the canvas pages of that application. And in fact, many apps can be hugely successful, generate hundreds of thousands of page views per day. So you can really build a nice revenue generation application that just lives within Facebook. That makes money just by serving ads on those canvas pages. As the app owner, you own all that real estate, so Facebook doesn't take any cut of that. So you have a huge opportunity to make money that way off engagement. Excuse me. The other way is people are building apps and they're selling apps. It's no different than creating a portfolio of real estate that has inherent value because there's traffic, there's user engagement, there's value and ways to monetize around that user's behavior. And it really depends upon market segment. And where we're going is market segmentation and market verticalization of applications. So instead of being everything to everyone, you'll want to be the best at this niche, whatever that niche is. That being the expert in that niche or being the most engaging app in that niche allows you the opportunity to monetize in very targeted ways, which can be very lucrative. And additionally, depending upon the niche, you also have exit opportunities that are pretty significant as well.
Right. Another business model that I didn't mention is something that RockU and Slide and some of these guys doing. What they do is they built up such a huge network that they can now pay, or companies can come to them and pay for installs. So a company could go to RockU, for example, pay them $50,000, and that company will then have 500,000 users for their Facebook application in a matter of days. So that's another business model altogether. So
absolutely it is. It's customer acquisition. So if you look at traditional pay-per-click marketing, you only pay when people click through. So kind of some of that moves over to Facebook, And from a behavioral targeting standpoint, you only pay when someone actually installs your app. And that's a great model, and that model will continue to be viable. I believe there will come a point in time where there's going to be different tiers of that. The pricing structure is going to vary, but it's absolutely a way to monetize because you have eyeballs, which effectively is real estate, and you have if you have people's attention, you can bring other things to their attention, which is, here's another app that you might like to install. So I think it's a good model. I don't know what the long-term viability of it is. I think it'll always reside within Facebook on some level, but that's low-hanging fruit. That's right now, and that's going to continue to be around for a while because user acquisition is really important.
Yeah, and especially if the direction is going towards verticalization, like you mentioned. I mean, we're going to start to see a lot of vertical players that have a lot of users in a particular vertical. So now their competitors can actually become partners for the right price. So they can come to them and then they can actually buy installs in that same vertical niche for the right price. And I think that we're going to see new business models built around that entire.
Yeah, absolutely we are. We're going to see new business models there. The other interesting thing is, I believe that on Facebook, new power players will emerge that will actually have more leverage and more marketing influence than traditional websites. I mean, I think that's where we're going. Because Facebook gives you the ability to do things that you can't do anywhere else, that adds value. So if you look at traditional WOMA or word of mouth marketing, Facebook removes every friction point for word of mouth marketing. So that's a marketer's dream. If I tell a couple of my friends about a positive experience, it's worth its weight in gold. And there's never been a great way to measure word of mouth marketing. Well, now there is with Facebook. Facebook gives you the ability to lay some metrics across word of mouth and put a value on it. So I think we're going to see that coming as well. We're already seeing it.
So let's talk a little bit about metrics. So right now there's not a real clean way to measure all the metrics within your Facebook app. There's Google Analytics, which does an okay job, but it doesn't really tell you like what percentage of users came from what touch point, what viral touch point within your application. Where do you see that business? I mean, do you see applications that do nothing but measure your metrics for your application, or do you see Facebook coming out with some sort of a analytics system, or maybe Google perhaps? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes. We're going to see that. Google would probably be the last one to embrace it, quite candidly, but Google Analytics is quick and dirty, free. It's an easy way for users to immediately get some sort of picture and lay of the landscape for performance and what's happening with their applications. But already there are applications within Facebook, Appsaholic, and then outside of Facebook there's Adanomics, which is another company that's providing third-party metrics. So already you have companies forming around giving you metrics, and so that's going to be really important to advertisers. So you're going to see those two ways, and I fully suspect that Facebook will build some sort of metric system. They already know how people got there, what the touch points were bringing them in. They know they have more data to share than anyone else possibly could. So it only makes sense that we'll see, I would expect that eventually we'll see Facebook come out with a product that does all of that reporting and analytics, and why not? Because as an app owner, if I can provide better metrics to my potential advertisers, I have a better way to monetize. It's win-win all the way across the board. Additionally, if I have visibility into those metrics, I have the ability to tune my application to really leverage what touch points people came from, how to make the app better, how to improve it. So actually having good analytics allows really intelligent, smart developers that are willing to adapt and change and do A/B split testing and really test to make their apps better, which works for Facebook, because what they really want is great user experience across the board. So I think those tool sets are coming.
So do you see Facebook coming out with their own advertising platform, similar to what Google did?